Every time a K-pop idol does something ignorant or racist or toxic or colorist, we get the "But BTS" argument. It's been done on Twitter and even by people making full videos defending their faves while asking, well, BTS did XYZ, where was the energy then? Where was the energy? Where was the energy? It was there. It is there. It has always been there. There are entire Twitter threads, YouTube videos, forum discussions, and callouts dedicated to BTS's past mistakes. Their missteps from over a decade ago still get brought up on a weekly basis every single time someone else messes up. Let's be clear, acknowledging someone's growth does not mean ignoring their past, and I want to tell you why acknowledgement is so important. Since BTS pointed out their mistakes and past ignorance, they opened up a discussion for their fans to do the same, to look at themselves and see if they've either consciously or unconsciously been ignorant, racist, if they've stereotyped or participated in microaggression. Which is why when you bring up BTS's past mistakes, a large majority of ARMYs don't deny that it was wrong, but get pissed off at it being dredged up every 2 weeks like clockwork. Most ARMYs don't become racist in return to overly defend BTS. They say, yeah, they fucked up. They apologized, they showed us growth, they learned. They haven't repeated it. So hold your faves accountable, not BTS. While idols who wait for the issue to resolve itself, which of course just means let their immature cult-like fandom go to war for them, put the opposite into effect. No accountability, no acknowledgement leads to their fans thinking they didn't actually do anything wrong. That silence sends a message. They shut that conversation down for themselves and for their fans and leave a silence where accountability should be. And that silence isn't filled with reflection or learning. It's filled with aggression. What we're seeing more and more now is fans becoming violently racist in defense of their idols. Not just tone deaf, not just dismissive, but actively, unapologetically racist. Using slurs, harassing people who speak up, dismissing serious issues as just jokes or cultural misunderstandings, twisting conversations about harm into a victim narrative for their idol, like they're the ones being attacked simply for being held accountable. And it doesn't stop there. They start to rewrite history. Suddenly, the harmful remark wasn't that bad. Suddenly, people are too sensitive or looking for reasons to hate. Suddenly, calling someone racist is worse than their racism. No personal ownership, no clarity, no real apology. And when that happens, fans take that silence as permission. Permission to deny, permission to attack, permission to gaslight and cause even more harm. And saying, well, that race or religion or community are racist to X and Y doesn't make it okay. Two wrongs don't make a right. If I shot someone and they shot me, we're both dying. They don't stop bleeding because they shot me in return. Plus, you can't judge an entire community by the actions of a few. When idols own it, fans themselves have to change their position from defending their behavior to then pointing out their growth. And what is growth? It's not simply the passage of time. Time passing doesn't automatically mean someone has learned, changed, or even become better. Growth requires intent. It takes reflection, it takes discomfort, it takes accountability. We see a sliver of these idols' lives. We don't know if they've grown or not if they don't talk about it. But BTS have talked about it.
내 말들이 누군가한테 상처가 되고 누군가한테 불편함을 줄 수 있다는 생각을 못 해봤던 것 같아요, 한 번도. 근데 제가 2016년을 거치면서 처음으로 그런 생각을 했어요. 아, 내가 하는 말이나 내가 어떤 했던 행동들이 뭐 그 의도와 동의가 어쨌든 간에 누군가한테는 불편할 수도 있고 상처가 될 수도 있겠구나라는 생각을 했던 것 같고 그 과정에서 아, 이제 나한테도 책임이 있는 거고 나도 이제 그런 거에 대해서 생각을 많이 해야 될 때인 거구나. 내가 한번 뭔가를 하게 되면 돌이킬 수 없게 되는 거구나. 내가 나를 인정하기, 나도 누군가한테 상처 줄 수 있어. 라는 걸 인정하기까지 되게 힘들었고 되게 오래 걸렸던 것 같아요. 제가 틀렸다는 걸 인정하기 싫었고 뭐 제가 틀렸다기보다는 제가 누군가한테 그럴 수 있다는 걸 인정하기 어려웠어요. 내가 어떤 부분을 잘못했다면 잘못했고 어떤 부분이 사람들을 불편하게 했을까? 어떤 부분에서 이런 비판을 하는 것일까라는 생각을 한 번 더 하게 되면서 어쨌든 제가 더 나은 사람이 되려면 제가 하는 것에 대해서 책임도 져야 하고 그리고 좀 더 생각도 바꿀 줄 알아야 하고 다른 잘못된 생각을 하고 있으면 바꿀 줄도 알아야 하고 많은 사람들이 얘기를 들어야 한다는 생각을 배웠어요. 한다는 생각을 했어요. 그래서 어떤 것을 했을 때 사람들이 한 번쯤 더 이렇게 생각하겠구나라고.
And at some point, we have to talk about what accountability actually looks like. BTS apologized. They took part in campaigns, donated, changed behaviors, spoke up, learned, read up on it, and showed consistent growth over time. Not just because they felt like their public image was hurt, but because they were genuinely disappointed by their past actions and wanted to change that, grow from it. Did that undo the harm? Probably not, but it did show a level of responsibility that most people still refuse to touch. It showed a willingness to be held accountable without making themselves the victim. They showed that growth is not about pretending something never happened, it's about making sure it never happens again. That's why the But BTS argument falls apart, because it's not just about what someone did, it's also about what they did after. And too many idols today are doing nothing after, or worse, letting their fandoms rewrite the story for them. And I'm well aware that this is not going to stop creepy cult-like fans who rather see their faves constantly disrespect religions, races, and cultures, even their own, from bringing up BTS and asking why we don't show them the same energy. You're right, we don't. We do the opposite. We only target them. We bring up their mistakes every time someone else messes up. Not because we care about accountability, but because it's easier to distract than to confront. Because some of you would rather weaponize BTS's past than look at your faves in the eye and think, wow, they fucked up. And that's just a fact. BTS doesn't get a pass. They never got a pass. They've been held accountable more than any other idol group, and still, their name is the first one out of people's mouth every time someone else gets called out. Not because it's fair, but because it's convenient. So let's stop pretending that this is about fairness. Let's stop pretending this is about equal energy, because if it was, the idols messing up right now would be getting dragged just as hard, instead of being coddled, defended with slurs and gaslighting and outright violence. And if you can't see the difference between someone who's apologized, grown, and moved forward and someone who hasn't, then maybe the problem isn't just your fave, it's you too. Accountability isn't hate. Deflection isn't a defense, and growth is not optional.